Good evening and welcome to the Laughing Monkey Music Show. Today on Steve Brown. How are you?
I'm good, Sean. Great to be with you and great to be with everybody out there on the worldwide interweb.
It is good. It's good. I'm glad we got to do this. I'm trying to get in touch for a little bit. Second time back. But you've got a new single out. Second single, but this single, "One to Lean On," is totally jumps out. It totally has a groove. I don't know. As I listened to it today, I'm like, it feels like the chorus is almost timeless. Like I could almost hear it in the '70s, but I could hear it also in the '90s. Like I don't feel like it has like almost feels like whatever you do in the beginning music would illustrate what the time period was. But because you have a blues riff to it, I really can't put it anywhere. That makes sense?
It totally does, and that's the idea behind it, you know. I mean, ultimately, look, as a songwriter, being a songwriter for the last 40 years, I try my best to make timeless music. Now, if you took any of the Trixter songs and just stripped away some of the 80s, let's say, production and just played, a song just standard rock, still a great song. You know what I mean?
Right.
Whether it was Give It to Me Good, One in a Million, or Heart of Steel, you know what I mean?
Mhm.
But One to Lean On definitely has a certain timeless quality to it in the sense that, yeah, it could be old. 70s certainly has a Rolling Stones kind of swagger to it, 70s blues vibe, if you
Totally.
will.
Yeah, I
Um,
mean like a classic rock. I mean like a good big song, not like a yacht rock thing. I'm talking like it's got a good melody. This is what you do. What I really love is it has like the chorus, and then it has the ultimate chorus. Like it has a obviously it's a pre-chorus and chorus, but to me, I love when you just when a song can just raise its game. You're like, this is good. Then you're like, ooh, this is even better. You know what I mean?
Oh, well, I mean, as a songwriter, that's what you try to do. And I certainly, at this point in the game, again, getting back to what I was saying before, after writing songs for so many decades, what I'm trying to do now with, let's say the second half of my career, being that I'm 52 years old now. So, oh man, that hurts saying that. 52
Same age.
years
I am
old.
literally the same age as you. So
It's good stuff. But I'm trying to check off the boxes and go like, what kind of song haven't I done? Last year I released my first ever single, Where Do We Run? And I think we
yep.
talked, about that. And that was something, again, that was a kind of a power ballad, but definitely had more of a vintage feel to it, if you will.
Right.
Certainly a little Led Zeppelin, Pink Floyd thing. I had never really done that. I've done certainly the big grandiose power ballads, and that goes to the 40-foot Ringo stuff, Stereo Fallout, which was, bombastic and stuff. But this is more stripped down. And I think the same thing with One to Lean On. It definitely has that, definitely has that sort of production. And the song itself, whether I play it on acoustic guitar, which I've done, it's still a great song. And that's ultimately what it's all about. And touching people, the message, the lyrics, the song is about friendship, true friendship, camaraderie, being there for someone when they're at their lowest point in their life. And I think, in this world that we're living in, Sean, I don't have to tell you, brother, with this divided nation and not I'm not getting into politics, but just
No,
the
no.
way the world is so effed up, what we've lived through over the last 2.5 years during the pandemic. I think the world needs a song like One to Lean On to say, hey, no matter what, I'm here for you. And likewise, I haven't known you that long, but I'm that type of person, and any of my friends and my family know that if there's ever an issue, I'm the first guy who'll be breaking down the door to help somebody else, in a
Yeah.
time of need. So it's really, it's important for me to, again, there's always a self-serving element when it comes to songwriting. First off, man, I want everything I do that I release to people to be great and to be fantastic, and I think I do that. I have a serious a quality barometer and level
Right.
that things need to be on for me to want to release something. And and this was one of those, man, where I did it and I released it, and the response around the world has just been incredible. And again, that's what it's all about. It's not, it ain't about making money, because we don't make, as songwriters nowadays, we're not really making money. It's about the art and about songwriting and helping people and reaching people and giving the best that you can.
I think a couple things on that. I do think This is what's going on. Everyone just needs to get together. And I think the more positive music across the board in most genres, and that this song actually covers a couple of genres actually,
Yeah, it does.
needs to get together. And I would say the two things I think it always kind of makes me think of this with musicians is two phrases I hate is A is guilty music because there should never be anything such a thing as called guilty music. And
Never.
the other thing is I hate to hear is this is kind of you can talk about it is when they say cash grab when I think musicians are doing cash grabs makes me crazy because like no one goes to work at the gas station or at the so and so company for called a cash grab. Oh, you just go to work today for a cash grab. No, you have a career and you need to still survive. You still have bills and kids and like so the phrase cash grab or they're working. No, they're just doing that for money or they're doing it for this. Musicians do stuff certain things, yeah, because they need to, but they also do a lot of things that don't make money. So when you do other things that people say is a cash grab, it's not. It's just trying to make the career
Yeah.
going.
Look, man, that is a critic and a music business, music industry term that is
Hate it.
certainly one of the worst. Musicians are the last always to get paid. By the time you pay your agent, your lawyer, your manager, whoever. Luckily, I do all of the above most of the time, so I don't have to deal with that. But man, back in the day, no one people don't understand most people, I mean, I think, nowadays with the internet and stuff, with the education that, guys like you and, all these interviews that people like me do,
I literally went to
really
college for this, so
shine
like
the
to me, I
light
always
on
try
it.
telling I tell everybody all the time because it makes me crazy that you know artists get beat up like this all the time.
Yeah, but that's the nature of the business. And if you're not strong enough to handle it, you shouldn't be in this business because it is the toughest, the entertainment business. It's the toughest business to be in because you're constantly being cut down. And now in this age of, social media comments and whether you're on Blabbermouth or this site or that site, the comments. And look, man, I
Yeah.
love it. I read when I'm on a certain website or something and people leave comments, man. It is brutal, but it is hysterical, to see it. And, look, it's all part of the engagement of what you do. And look, if you do interviews like I'm doing now, or if I'm on
Yep.
social media and I'm doing things and you post, you set yourself up for that. But it's kind of a damned if you do, damned if you don't. And like I tell everybody, I was late to the game with like social media, man. I just started on Instagram a couple of years ago. I
Yeah.
was never
And
on
YouTube, people subscribe to him, by the way. We'll put the link
yeah,
underneath. Go to his
all
YouTube
that. I
page.
mean, yeah, Steve Brown rocks. Please, support, buy, do whatever, stream, do all that stuff. But and look, I've certainly, my personality lends itself to do it, and I love it. Ever since I started, I just really it suits me. But it does come with the a-holes who are commenting, but that's part of it, and that is something I've come to really enjoy about it because it is the comedy, the fact that people spend time to actually say nasty things. And I mean, some of them write like they
You're
write,
right. Some of them are just hilarious, and some of them I'm like, are you kidding me?
yeah,
And some of them are funny, and you don't have thick skin. But my point, I guess, what I'm saying, like when it's just they say it's this band is going out again for cash grab. It's like it's such a weird term because it's like they're just working again. They're literally just making music, and if they made popular and the music and the
cash
song,
grab, yeah.
why? It's just a weird term. It's like if you don't like the band anymore or you don't like the way they've aged, that's cool. But it's such a weird thing to label somebody because the band gets back together. Here's an easy band to say. They say because the Black Crowes got together, just the brothers, it's a cash grab. They're playing together, whether you believe in the original band or not. There's no comment either way about it. But I'm saying because they say it's the two of them and no one else, it's a cash grab. No one knows the dynamics of the band. Some do actually, but the point is that's how the labels come out as a cash grab. It happens all the time. If you guys got together, half you guys got together, cash grab. Like it doesn't matter who it is, you know.
Yeah, well, and you know what? I'm happy to take a cash grab because I love cash. Most of the time though, it's direct deposit and check. So, you can't be
Cash direct
hiding money
deposit.
much anymore. I run a legit business here, Brownstone Music, 30 years of music publishing and entertainment services. So, watch what you say.
Well, and that's the whole thing. Actually, I'm saying because that was the whole point of that whole thing. Because you do a lot of things, and like you do acoustic Trixter, which is great.
Yeah.
It's no drama. It's just guys that like the music you've written, doing it with mutual band members that enjoy what you're doing. And
Yeah,
that's
and
it.
it
There's nothing
started,
more to that.
It started a year ago, kind of by accident. PJ's been playing, PJ and I have been playing with Eric Martin since like 2017, 2017.
The
We went to
comedy troupe,
Japan with Eric. What's that?
the comedy troupe.
Oh,
You
we are
guys,
certainly a comedy troupe. Well, it's like I say all the time, Sean, music is how we make our living, but comedy is our real passion in life. And hey, look, laughter is the best medicine when you spend a lot of time on the road. We learned this back when we went on the first Trixter tour back in 1990. PJ and I and the guys, we watched Spinal Tap 30 days in a row because it was the funniest thing and it just hit with us and we had every line memorized and we just laughed and we continued that. Hey, look, when you're in a band named Trixter, you better be pretty funny. So I like to think all of us, even some of the knuckleheads in the band who don't have much of a sense of humor, they were pretty funny. But PJ and I certainly gravitated, and especially movie humor. Whether it's
yeah,
Caddyshack, Meatballs, Spinal Tap, we knew every line to every word, every joke. And then that goes into later in life, where a couple years ago, PJ and I were playing with Jim Brewer, the great comedian, our good buddy, and
yep.
having so much fun playing with him. We would just laugh for 12 hours when we were at the gigs and rehearsal. It was just constant. Like we couldn't even rehearse. We hardly rehearsed. All we did was laugh, you know. But so getting back to it, so Eric and PJ were playing acoustic gigs, and last year Eric he had some problems with his voice and couldn't make a gig. And PJ's like, "Hey man, we got this gig open up for Warrant. It's going to be a big outdoor festival. Are you available?" And Def Leppard wasn't touring, so I was like, "Sure, let's do it." And we went out and did our first, official Trixter acoustic duo show with our good buddy Ben Hands, who's played with Kip Winger over the last couple of years, playing now with Tony Harnell and Anthony Corder from Tora Tora. So he's been great. Him and his wife Dawn books a lot of these shows.
Oh
Ben's
wow.
so it's really cool, but we did it, man. And I told PJ, we kicked ass last year. There's footage of it. And I told PJ, man, I love this. Let's do this because we've never really done, let's say, the proper acoustic shows. And it
Right.
gives us the ability to not only play the songs in an acoustic stripped down manner, which really shows true talent in my book.
Right. And
Because
a
if you
song, and
can
how good a
play,
song is too. If you can strip it down.
yeah, well, it gives you a different a way to show the songs, play the songs in a different way, but really show the talent and the vocal abilities that PJ and I have.
Mhm.
And people are like kind of surprised who don't really know, and they go, "Wow, man, you're a really great singer, PJ. You're a great singer." And first off, I tell everybody, well, all the Trickster stuff, I sang all of those songs first because I wrote them. And basically, the way it would go in Trickster was I would write the song, record basically the version that you hear on the record, the version of the song, and I would record it on my 4 track. And I'd give Pete the song and say, "Here, learn it. And then take it to the next level." And that's basically what he did. So I sang all those songs first. You could, the original Give It To Me Good demo from 1989 is online. You could hear it. And so that's really, I'm singing my songs and putting a little bit of a twist on it, but I don't really need to change anything because that's pretty much the way I wrote them. And a song like Surrender, that's a song that Bill Ray and I wrote, in the studio. So to
Yes.
sing that song, and then and Surrender, for instance, was a song, and I tell this story. So the acoustic Trickster thing, the really cool thing about it is not only is it the music, and I think you've seen some of the footage, we
I
do
have.
like a big storytellers thing, and that's really the cool part for the fans. The music is great, but to hear some of these stories that PJ and I, telling about, again, talking about how Surrender was written, and that was a song that was written in the studio. When we were doing, the first Trickster record, Surrender came from the song In My Arms, which was, the original song, and it was a typical 80s power ballad. And
Yep.
I still to this day think if we released In My Arms as it was, I think it might have been a bigger hit because it was that much more obvious. The chorus was, "I want you back where you belong, in my arms again." We used some of the lyrics, but it was very much like heaven, like, Every rose has its thorn. It was the quintessential 80s power ballad. But that being said, Bill Ray was the one who was like, man, in his southern accent, Bill would go, Steve, man, that's really cliche, man. We got to do something tougher. That was Bill's line when we were doing the first Trixter record. Bill and Jim Ray, who, still to this day are dear friends of mine, and, were such an integral part of the success of making the first Trixter record and really taking my songs to the next level. But Surrender was one that was completely kind of totally Mutt Langed, if you will, to where the Def Leppard guys would bring in song ideas and Mutt would go, let's change this, let's take that, let's do that. And, like making sausage, take
Yeah.
everything and grind it up. And then you come out with something brand new. But Bill was the one, he's like, man, we got to make this tougher. We got to do something cooler with this song, man. Not so, and we were all about it because it was like, hey, man, we want to do something different. We don't want to be like everybody else. So he went in and we had the basic, music track done. And then Bill just went in, and Bill Ray was a great singer, really bluesy R&B. And he went in and did what us producers and singers call is just scatting, to where you
Okay.
get up on the mic while the song's playing and just kind of, and sometimes put out some words, words of silence. And he belted out, and then he got to the chorus, and then he said something like, baby, let's surrender. And I just came running in, and I'm like, that's it, surrender, surrender. And, it was also because, of course, I'm such a Cheap Trick fan. I was like, well, man, if Surrender was good for Cheap Trick, Surrender, the title, would be great for Trixter. And sure enough, man, and we finished it off. And I remember, man, that was one of those moments where I was like, man, Bill is really talented and brilliant, because he just went in and basically in one pass
Mhm.
came up with all the melodies and some of the lines, some of the lyrics for the song that wound up, on the record. That hook, baby, let's surrender. That was it. And so we tell those stories and, everything else. And it's just really, we just got back from two great shows in North and South Carolina, and I think this year we did 10 or 12 shows. And next year, I think we have that already on the books, and we haven't even gotten into 2023. So
You
really
should.
enjoying it. Yeah. It's a lot of fun.
It sounds like it's just basically it's a celebration of the songs and tricks. Nice, you
It
know?
is. Yeah. Oh, it's always a celebration with us.
Right. And that's the fun part. And originally you guys were doing fun stuff with Eric, and you guys can be found on the stage with Eric at times also being goofy.
Oh, well, yeah,
There's
that's
tons of clips on that. I think it just popped up the other day. You were harassing him. He was trying to play I don't know, was it one of them
give
was
it to
trying,
me
I don't know, it was,
good. Give it
yeah,
to
and he
me
messed it
good.
up. Yeah.
Oh yeah,
That's the
that
one.
was that
That
was
was the
last year. We did a gig together. It was my first ever Steve Brown solo gig with Eric. PJ was out on tour with Fozzy, so we had to come up with some cool marketing concept. But yeah, and Eric, Eric plays, he's been playing Give It to Me Good
yeah.
for years, but for some reason, and I found this out afterwards, that for some reason, he started playing the song in the wrong key. He started playing an E chord when Give It To Me Good's a G. And he just started strumming on it. And I was like, we're like on stage, and like, I'm like going, like walking up to him, and I just let him go, because I'm like, there's no letting him, there's no stopping him now. There's no stopping him. Let him go. And I just, and then finally he just looked at me and he goes, holy shit, I'm playing the wrong chords. And, here he is in my hometown gig, and he's screwing up my big hit.
Oh,
But it
that's
was great.
it
I
was
mean,
so
those are
funny.
the moments again, and this is one thing that I'm very passionate about, like Eddie Trunk, and hopefully you are, this epidemic of backing tracks.
Oh, don't get me
Give
started. Yeah.
fucking
I
bands.
can't play. I don't have my laptop. You don't have your
Oh
what?
my
Your
God,
lap
dude,
what?
like
Leave it at
please,
home.
please.
You can do
Like
it in the background. If you have a big performance, you can have certain sounds that you can't replicate to keep it a big show. But you need your vocals. Everything has to be live. You can't.
enough with the bands playing the click tracks, playing to their record, playing to the Pro Tools sessions. I mean, I could go on and on. It's neither here nor there. Fucking practice more, get better. Look
Sing
on
and
YouTube. There's
sing.
a There's a way for all you drummers to play in time. There's a way for all you guitar players and singers. You know what, man? Just fucking sing. If you're shitty, that's so be it. If people are buying tickets to see you, at least it's real.
There's
But
a
I'm
lot of bad
fucking
singers out
tired of
there
this
in rock and
bullshit.
roll that do really good because
So
they
getting
sound like
back to
themselves.
Yeah, but getting back to it, there it was, live rock and roll. And when we play, PJ and I, 95% of the time we're pitch perfect, but every once in a while we hit some bad notes. And that's just to show everybody it's real, man. This is real live performance, live, honest heart and soul music played live by musicians and
And
singers.
that's the best. I did
It
that.
is.
Last time I did tell you this. When Eric was on, he was talking about a song and playing with you guys. And he said, I think his song was Kansas. And he was
Uh-huh.
playing it. He put his guitar to play it. And, if you remember this, he starts playing this because we wanted you to learn the song. He starts playing it. And you're like, wait a minute, that's my song. And basically, you know what I'm talking about?
I
And then he'll
do,
sing it
of
too. It's like
course.
in a different chord. It's very similar because it has that bouncy riff.
Yeah,
Dun,
well,
dun,
it
dun, dun,
has.
dun, dun.
Yeah, Eric was a huge fan of PJ and our band 40 Foot Ringo, as were so many people. All the 40 Foot freaks out there, we still love you. We still might do some more 40 Foot music, but Eric was a huge fan of that record, and especially there's a song called "A Freak Like You" on Funny Thing, and it's a shuffle. Dun, 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 dun. And hey, man, he was inspired by it, and it's a great tribute, and he owns up to it. And when we did it the first time in Japan in 2017, he
Yeah.
made me sing "A Freak Like You." Because he didn't really want Trickster songs. He didn't want Mr. Big songs. He wanted stuff, deep cuts from our
Right.
catalog. And it went over great. And as does Kansas. But yeah,
Yeah.
that's
He owns up to it. Yeah. He goes, wait a minute, that's not your song. And he plays it and he compares it to. He goes, does it sound like it? It's not my sweet lord, but yeah. He totally owns up to it. It's so Eric, it's funny. It was killing me.
of course.
It's so funny though. But yeah, I wanted to bring it to you last time we talked. It's pretty good. So you actually do though have a record label with
Yeah, well, we haven't really
Adam.
made. We're on a soft opening right now. It's my dear friend Adam Reaver from FU Tone and I.
He's been on. Love him.
Yeah, we have a new label that's going to be launching. I mean, we're sort of in a soft launch right now, but Polymer Records, you know the
I
name,
know it. I
you
know
know
it.
where it
Spinal
comes
Tap.
from. But
That's Spinal Tap.
Adam and I own the trademark, and we have a label that's going to be launching probably early 2023, and the first release is going to be the double gatefold blue vinyl release of Trixter New Audio Machine. Um,
That's
so
awesome.
yeah, we're really excited about that. And what Polymer Record is going to, basically be, it's going to be a specialty label. It's going to be short run, collectors items type things in the
Nice.
beginning. We're going to put out New Audio Machine. We're probably going to put out a deluxe CD version of it with a bunch of bonus tracks because the vinyl you can with a single record you can only do 45 minutes of music.
Right.
So we'll probably, in a couple months after the vinyl sells out, we're only doing 500 copies. And when that sells out, then we'll probably put out like the big deluxe CD with, live tracks and all the demos, if you will, from New Audio Machine. But we're really looking forward to this, and it's a new chapter for me as sort of a music businessman, to really get into. And it's been exciting and working with Adam again, who's one of my best friends in the world. We've been buds for 30 plus years and we've been working together. I helped Adam build FU Tone. So this is going to be a great new project for
Great
us.
products, by the way. People that don't know, great products, great
Of
guitar stuff. It's just
course,
like,
the
I mean, if you're a
greatest.
guitarist at this point, you don't know. So obviously, if you don't know, you're a new guitarist. But go to the
Yeah,
website.
everybody knows about FU, the best locking tremolos in the world, and the greatest accessories to go with it. And I don't need to sell it, but
No,
again, it's a really
easy Eddie
exciting
Van
time.
Halen sound. You can just you can go to Eddie sound real easy. Everything
Of
just
course.
the bomb.
That's it, man.
So props to
So
Adam.
it's an exciting time, and again, Sean, at this point in my career, it's about doing things that I haven't done. Luckily, I've been blessed with a 30, 35 year plus career, and money doesn't dictate what I do. I do things because I want to challenge myself and continuing to grow as a businessman, as an artist, as a musician, as as a person. So, it's a really exciting time.
So, I want to end on one thing though. In your press release also, you talk about doing one song, two songs. You joke about doing one song a year.
Yeah, it's not a
Yeah,
joke.
that's
Even
the
though
slowest album.
I
It would
am
be
the
funny. It would be
comedy
the
king.
ultimate long-term joke. It would be. But as a business plan, you have a really good single. It would really be good for you to capitalize on having an album out in the next year. You know,
It would, but
even in digital form.
again, so what I'm doing with One to Lean On, and we're like up to like 170,000 streams, that's been the focus. I'm sort of learning about the new music business. And,
Hmm.
for a guy who still buys CDs and vinyl, it's again, it took me a couple years getting on social media, really making that commitment. Now I'm making the commitment about learning really about streaming and how to do, deal with playlists and stuff like that. And, luckily I was blessed to be able to get on some of these playlists, especially around the world. And the song has been, taking off. And ultimately goes back to what we were talking about in the beginning. That's the message here, to be able to reach people and change their lives and make each day that they live a better day for them. By giving them great songs and music that has a message and has something to say. So it's been super cool. But yeah, I get it. And look, if somebody comes to me, one of these labels comes to me with let's say an offer I can't refuse. Look, I'm not gonna pass it up. But the goal is that in 2032, I'm gonna have 10, 12, 15 songs ready. And then Polymer is, into the next phase of being a real label. Because again, with the label, Adam and I are certainly, and we do have the funding to be able to, let's say, if somebody comes to, some band comes to the table, a legacy band, if you will, and says, hey man, we got a new record out and we're not getting the kind of offers, we will be able to compete with a Frontiers or a Cleopatra or whatever label, E1 out there. Maybe not E1, but, to compete if
Right.
someone comes to us and is willing to, because again, we're going to be a very artist friendly
Well,
label.
that's the big difference. An artist will take less money here for more control here or more respect here.
Exactly.
It's not always about the bottom line because, as every artist learned, not just rock, but from the 80s and 90s, it's not about the money because you'll lose your shirt
Yeah,
in
I
the
mean,
end.
and again, this is all part of the big plan, and also, I just got back from Nashville a couple weeks ago. I was down there doing my first launch into, the songwriting thing because at this point in my life, man, I'm not stupid. I know Steve Brown is not going to be lighting up the real pop charts and the country charts, so it's time for me to get in and throw my songs out there for the country artists and the pop artists. So that's something that's a real thing. I was down working with JT Harding, who's a phenomenal songwriter. He's got like 7 number 1s with Darius Rucker, Keith Urban, Kenny Chesney, Blake Shelton. I mean, this guy's the real deal. Who grew up, we're the same age, huge Kiss fan, Van Halen, Def Leppard. We're like newfound brothers, and it's really cool when you don't really know somebody and you get introduced. And it's like when I told him, I said, dude, I've only known you for like 10 minutes, but I feel like I've known you for 40 years because we speak the same language, the same
Right.
jokes. And he's got a great book out, which everybody should check out, called Party Like a Rock Star. It's a songwriter's journey and really also a music business songwriter kind of handbook. So if all you budding songwriters out there, go pick up JT's book. But I'm going back in February and the doors are starting to swing open for me. So hopefully in 2023 we get some cuts on some of the tunes I'm writing, and just really enjoying it, and enjoying this part of my career. And like we were joking about before, Sean, being 52 years old, and this is kind of the second half of my career. I'm
Yep.
really looking forward to making the second half of my career the
Closer to
next,
this side than to that side.
the best, the biggest, and the best. And things are really looking tremendous for the next 20 years. PJ and I say, PJ Farley just joined the 50 Club. If that doesn't
Oh,
make you feel like, whoa, man, I've known PJ since he was 14, maybe 13 years old. He joined Trixter. He was 16 years old. I mean, no, he's 15. I took him to get his driver license. Now he's in the 50 Club with all of us.
man.
So me and him joke, man, that this next 50 years is going to be bigger and better than the first 50 years.
That's awesome. I hope so. Everybody check out the singles. Let's talk about hit his social media, hit his YouTube. He's got some, not only that, he's got links to Rubik's Cube. There's all kinds of fun things on that page also.
Oh yeah,
We didn't even touch that. We will hit that another time, but like Rubik's Cube, underrated, fun 80s band, lots
the
of
'80s
costumes
show.
and humor and such a talented list of artists we couldn't even go over right now. But everyone in there is so talented. I don't even know how the female singer got her hands on the Cher costume in one of the videos. Where you'd even find that from? That probably has a
Oh
whole
man,
great
Cher
story.
gave it to us. But also, before we go, Sean, we got to make sure my next
Oh,
tour,
please, yeah.
The Wizards of Winter, the Wizards of Winter, which is a Hard Rock Christmas show inspired, of course, influenced by TSO, and we hit the road starting November 18th down in Lafayette, Indiana, and Prestonburg, Kentucky, and we're going up and down the East Coast, Midwest. We have 21 shows booked. Greg Smith, my bandmate from Tokyo Motor Fist, Scott and Sharon Kelly, and the whole crew. Manny Cabo on vocals. It's going to be the greatest hard rock Christmas show on the road this year. I can guarantee you that. No backing tracks, no click tracks, and all 100% real Christmas hard rock and roll.
You're gonna make it up. Actually, throw out the new Tokyo Motor Fist. Also, people check that one out too. That's really good too.
Oh,
Um,
Lions. Yeah, man.
it's so good. It's so good. But to not lose track that a lot of bands are loving hitting the South around the holidays because it's warmer. You are a Jersey guy. I'm expecting you to come up more to the north and suck it up.
I think we are. I mean, I think we have Massachusetts,
All right. Yeah.
Pittsfield,
That counts. Yeah.
Massachusetts,
That's
and
I mean,
we have New Hampshire. I don't know if we have any Connecticut this year,
that,
but
well, Massachusetts is pretty close though.
Staten Island, New
Yeah.
Jersey. We're doing the State Theater in New Brunswick on Black Friday. We're doing the Patchogue Theater. Go to wizardsofwinter.com and see all the tour dates, and we look forward to seeing everybody.
All the links will be there because Steve is going to send them to me after this conversation so I don't miss anything that he wants me to put up. All right.
Woo! Of
Thank you.
course.